Time is passing, and the search for a family is getting further away each day.
I am 38 years old this year, have a master's degree, and am considered a high-quality leftover at an older age. Recently, I went to the hospital for an examination and discovered that my period had stopped. The doctor prescribed me a lot of Chinese medicine, and I have been taking it. I have already completed a course of treatment. When I asked the doctor about it, he told me that my period had indeed stopped. I thought the doctor was lying to me. With such advanced technology, how could my period stop? I am only 38 years old. I am still young. But the truth is, my period has been missing for half a month. Oh, it's really very hard for me. I have taken the Chinese medicine and used the menstrual patches, but there has been no effect. Now I don't know what to do. I am 38 years old and feel that I am still young. My parents don't know about my situation, and I can't sleep at night. Look at my hair. It's getting thinner and thinner. What should I do? What should I do? It's really very difficult for me. Haha, it's really difficult. My period hasn't come.
As is common with human experience, we only realize how time has passed after it has already gone. To be honest, I can't fully blame women for not finding a partner just because they are too demanding. Since starting this channel and researching more about the country's culture, I've realized that the dilemma is not as simple as just choosing less qualified men. It's true that their demands can be very high and, in many cases, unrealistic. However, the issue is much deeper than it seems. If you've watched the latest videos on the channel, you should have noticed this as well. Let's delve further into this topic so that you can draw your own conclusions. Share your opinions and viewpoints in the comments.
Tell everyone that you should marry as early as possible, ideally before 28, because after you turn 30, you will really find that the quality of your blind dates decreases and the number of them goes down. People will start introducing you to any man just because you are older, regardless of whether he matches you or not. The introducers will think that, since you are older, you don't deserve anything better, so they will just push any man your way. After a certain age, no matter how excellent you are, unless you are very lucky and can marry someone you are truly satisfied with, you will end up with either someone with good family conditions but not very good personally, or someone who seems okay but has much worse conditions, or even a divorced person with or without children. The choices are really very few. Sometimes, I don't understand why I've let myself get to such an old age without being married. I worked hard and was devoted in my relationships and at work. I thought that people who work hard should be luckier, but that wasn't the case for me. I feel like nothing is going well, but I always try to stay positive, believing that everything that happens is beneficial to me. It's been 25 years, and I don't know where life has placed me or what it has made of me. Reaching 35 without being married. Now my parents want to hurry me, but they are also afraid of pressuring me too much. If they don't pressure me, they get anxious themselves. And if I don't take it seriously, that's not acceptable either. I'm at this age, and I still need to get married. If I take it seriously, but people around me think I'm too picky, but I'm really not. I cry for a while, feel upset, and then after that I still need to work hard to earn money and take good care of myself. When I don't have a partner, I should make sure my life is good. I really want to say that finding a partner should be done as early as possible. It's now 1 a.m., and it's also the 26th day of the lunar calendar. Almost New Year's, but I really can't sleep, I just can't. There's a lot of internal pressure and anxiety. Usually, going home for New Year's is a very happy thing, something that brings joy, but because of my age and the fact that I'm not married, I've been feeling very anxious every night recently, with insomnia and unable to sleep. I don't know when, in China, being older and unmarried became such an unforgivable thing. Everyone seems to have the right to judge you. They say things like, over 30 and still not married. That's a failed life. Over 30 and still not married. Anyone you meet now is likely to be divorced. Over 30 and still not married? You might not be able to have children. 30 years old and still not married? What will happen if you die? Moreover, since I was young, I was never a very determined or resolute person. Faced with such criticisms or judgments, I often end up feeling doubtful and negative about myself. I think, Is it true that, by reaching 30 without getting married, my life is really a total failure, as people say? This wears me down every day, adding to the pressure from my family, hearing my parents say, "Look, you're still not married. Your father and I are so worried we can't sleep at night. Look, my hair is turning gray from worry." Hearing these words, I feel selfish, like by keeping my standards high, I've never considered the feelings of my closest relatives. Am I really wrong? But I believe that all older people who are still unmarried, just like me, it's not that we don't want to get married. It's that we really haven't found the right person. Although I lack determination, I'm a person with low tolerance. I can't tolerate hypocrisy. So, I can't imagine spending my life with someone who is false or dishonest. Maybe it's just bad luck, but so far I haven't found that sincere and confident person. But is that our fault? So please be kind to older people who haven't married yet. It's not that we don't want to. It's just that we really can't settle for less. After all, it's something for a lifetime, right? Goodbye. Is it really that bad to be unmarried at 30? I want to ask, how many people are in a similar situation to mine? Currently, I'm 30 years old, unmarried, without children, and I don't have a boyfriend. So, what's the situation with the people around me? Basically, all of my friends and classmates are already married with children, and some of them even have 2 kids who are already quite grown. Nearly everyone else has a boyfriend and is preparing to get married, except for me. So, when you're facing something like this, are you really as carefree and happy being single as some people online claim? Or do you actually feel a little anxious or envious? My answer is, yes, I do feel a little anxious and envious, but this feeling is intermittent. This is because, due to the education and environment I was brought up in, I was always told that a woman needs to get married. Sooner or later, it's the path to take. So, even though I love freedom, I haven't completely become someone who's against marriage. Not yet, at least. That's why, when I face the pressure from my parents and relatives to get married, and when I hear many people around me say things like, "You're getting older, it will only get harder to find someone. Right now, you're choosing others, but later they'll be choosing you. And if you wait too long, it will be hard to have children, and recovery won't be easy either. Don't enjoy your freedom too much now, because when you're 50 or 60, all your friends and relatives will have children, and you'll be the only one alone. What will you do when you get sick and there's no one by your side?" I admit that these words are very annoying, but they also do affect my thoughts and often make me anxious. Sometimes I wonder if, when I get older and face work crises, fertility issues, and family challenges, I will be able to face my current situation calmly. Will I regret some of the choices I made in the past? For example, when I'm 50 or 60, my friends will have grown-up children, and their lives may be simple but very stable. They will have a stable support network, but maybe I'll be alone, and that kind of loneliness might be very hard to bear. By then, I might not be able to change my situation anymore. And how would I cope with that regret? Even though I always say that not getting married is good, that being alone is good, and that my need for love is very low because of my family and the influence of those around me, the truth is that I don't really see marriage in a very positive light. I am very independent, and I've managed all aspects of my life on my own for many years. But deep down, I think I still have a hope that someone will come along who can accompany me and share everything in life with me. If such a person exists, I think it could be nice. However, I really can't bring myself to marry someone just because I'm getting older and it's becoming harder to find someone, or to save face for my parents, or to meet their expectations. I can't just marry anyone for those reasons. And I understand very well what marriage means for a woman. If I make the wrong choice, the consequences are unbearable. Marriage is stability, it's a sense of belonging, but it's also hard work, responsibility, and pressure. If the person I choose to live with doesn't have enough love for me, my life could end up being nothing but suffering and pain. Right now, I'm still one of those who are firm and haven't compromised. I want to find the right person to marry, not just marry anyone. I still think that, in this short life at any time, I want to follow my heart and live according to my expectations and understanding of life. I want to make choices that can convince me and that I believe are right. A 30-year-old woman from a small town, who has been living in Shanghai for 6 years and still hasn't married. How did she become trapped in a vicious cycle of single life? Have you had a similar experience? Family introduces candidates, but you're not interested in them. You have no interest in the friends around you. You didn't have luck with love at first sight. And the relationship that developed over time doesn't meet ideal conditions. You can't get out of this situation, and no one can get in. You gradually get used to living alone, starting to enjoy solitude. Your social life decreases, and you feel that socializing is unnecessary. You don't have particular interests or hobbies, and everything seems average. You don't feel much enthusiasm for most things, and unconsciously, your future plans only involve yourself. You hope, while still young, to earn money and have a home of your own in the future. You want to save enough money to travel with your parents at any time. You wish for a life as simple as possible, without the complications of family matters. In the end, the more you strive, the lonelier you become, and you end up being seen as an older single woman. To be honest, I don't have the courage to stay single for life. I'm afraid of making my parents sad and of being alone in old age. But I also wouldn't marry just for the sake of marriage, because marriage has never been my goal. Happiness is. This news really surprised me a bit. It is said that about 70 million women will never have children in their lifetime. Recently, this topic became a trending topic online, stating that the lifetime childlessness rate among women in China is close to 10%. At first glance, it seems simple, but when you think about it, this means that, on average, 1 out of every 10 women will never have children. Currently, there are 690 million women in China, and according to this 10% rate, that number corresponds to 70 million. And these figures are from 2020. In comparison, in 2015, the childlessness rate for women in China was 6.1%. In just 5 years, there has been an increase of 30 million women who will never have children in their lifetime. And this number will likely continue to rise because surveys show that the desire to have children among women of childbearing age is steadily decreasing. In last year's census, China's population experienced its first decline in 61 years. Some maternity hospitals are even facing a winter of births. One person shared their experience, saying that when they had their first child, the maternity ward was so full that there weren't enough beds, and they ended up having to pay for an expensive private room. When they had their second child, there were only 2 women in the maternity ward, and they could even choose the room they preferred after giving birth. Why are so many people no longer willing to have children? I summarized a few reasons. First, the economic situation isn't good. People are afraid they won't be able to support a child, so they don't dare to have one. Second, work is too exhausting, and there's no energy to take care of a child. Third, the absentee father marriages and parenting create fear in people. Fourth, the competitiveness and discrimination in the job market are very unfavorable to women of childbearing age. Some women lose their jobs after having children, or it severely affects their careers, so they naturally don't dare to have children. Fifth, some people think life is too hard and don't want to bring a child into the world to suffer. Sixth, some young people see children as a burden that would prevent them from pursuing a higher quality of life. These problems are very real. After all, today's world isn't like the past, where you could just feed a child to raise them. Today, children need careful upbringing. Their diet must be of good quality, education must be appropriate, psychological needs must be attended to, and everything requires money and effort, which really causes worry. However, the harsh reality is that if you don't have children, you may face significant difficulties in the future. If you clearly state that you don't want children, your mother will definitely ask you every day, "What will you do when you're old?" I know it's annoying, but unfortunately, this problem still doesn't have a solution. Some young people say they'll go to a nursing home or form a group with friends to grow old together. If you have money, why worry about old age? But the truth is, this plan isn't as simple to execute as it sounds. Let's first talk about forming a group to grow old together. First, you need to find some friends who are like-minded. Secondly, everyone needs to be healthy and self-sufficient because no friend will want to take care of you if you need constant help. I've seen many groups that tried to grow old together, but in the end, they ended up disagreeing. Although the initial idea was great, in practice, many conflicts and problems arise, such as splitting expenses, who paid less, who spoke ill of who plays cards too slowly, who wants to go out and have fun while someone else doesn't want to go. There are many small, unexpected issues. Finding a group that can really live together harmoniously over the long term is very rare. Now, talking about nursing homes, everyone has heard scary stories about them. There are 2 things I think should be considered. First, to get into a nursing home, you need a guardian who can be contacted at any time. If you don't have children, this can be difficult. Second, some caregivers like to mistreat elderly people without children because they have no one to defend them. A researcher once did a study on nursing homes and said that these places are like small worlds. There are 2 types of elderly people, those with children and those without. If the elderly person has children, The nursing home treats them more carefully because if something happens, the children can fight for the elderly person's rights. Even if the children are negligent, if they can gain some money, they become very active in defending the elderly. On the other hand, if the elderly person doesn't have children, the situation is completely different. Some caregivers take advantage of the vulnerability of elderly people without support and mistreat them. These elderly people end up having to endure everything in silence because any resistance would only result in more abuse. Many caregivers in nursing homes have little formal education, and their lives are not easy. The pressure, suffering, anger, and anxiety they feel are taken out on the elderly. It's inevitable. Of course, having children just to ensure care in old age is a bit selfish and utilitarian. But how can you ensure good care in old age without having children? This is a question that still doesn't have an answer. In summary, we're in a dilemma. Young people seem to have 100 reasons not to have children, but also 1,000 reasons to have them. Of course, the decision to have or not have children is a personal choice. I recommend that everyone think carefully and clearly before making a decision so that they aren't misled by biased opinions and end up making a choice that isn't right for them. And you watching this video, do you think you should have children? Leave us a comment below. Follow Li Yu Liang for a deep analysis of trends.
不要被有些偏颇的言论给误导了，做出不适合自己的决定。那看视频的你觉得应不应该生呢？欢迎评论区给我们留言。
This last video reinforced the point I mentioned at the beginning. The dilemma isn't as simple as just choosing a more common partner. We can't be hypocritical. If you have your own preferences, you also need to respect the preferences of others. Wanting a standout partner requires you to offer something in return, and for many Chinese men, youth is what matters most. In summary, they have the right to choose, but that doesn't mean they'll necessarily get what they want. If you enjoyed this video and want to follow more important discussions like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. See you next time.